Okay, well, it's 2 o'clock and we'll get started. I've just pressed the record button. Please remember that a copy of today's recording will be sent out to you following today's webinar, and we'll give you a chance to hear it again and to pick up any points you may have missed along the way. We hope that you're sitting there studiously with a pen that works and some paper in front of you to be able to take some notes. There'll be some pretty key points getting made here, and we hope that you've got yourself into a place that's nice and quiet, distraction free, and able to allow you just to focus on the content that is coming down the line today. So first of all, we want to say a very big welcome. Thank you very much. This is actually our biggest webinar that we have run in the last couple of years. I suspect the topic of building a world-class customer experience has certainly caught the attention of a lot of the New Zealand hospitality industry community, and we've got a great range of owners and managers and team members attending today's workshop. So thank you very much for taking time out of what we know in the hospitality world is a very full-on daily experience, and for you to make some time to listen to us today and to participate is really appreciated, and we aim to give you as much as we can in terms of value and support through today's talk. So our topic, as you will know, you've had a bit of a read of the blurb, is to look at how to build a world-class customer experience. And we're going to be focusing on what we consider here at the Hospitality Company to be the 4 areas that we really believe that a hospitality business needs to nail to really provide that complete experience and for it to sit in that category of world class. So we're going to go through each of those with you today. Those of you that know us, and there's lots of existing clients of our community listening in as well today, you'll know that we look at the hospitality industry and the business of hospitality from different angles and quite unique angles based on our international experience. So you'll be used to it. For those of you that are here for the first time, and thank you for being here for the first time with us, some of where we come from might seem from a slightly different angle or around the corner, and it might be presented in quite a new way, but hopefully you will enjoy that, and it will give you a fresh perspective on how you might see what it is and what your daily experience as a leader or as a manager looks like in the business that you're involved with. So we want to focus on a couple of key things here right off the bat, and that is to look at what this is all about. Why is this topic of building a world-class customer experience so important? Why did we decide to create this webinar today? The real learning for us has been in the last couple of years as a company that studies and travels abroad to look at best practice globally, is the need for the customer service element that has been a big part of the hospitality industry for certainly my 30 years in the industry. Customer service has always been sort of at the forefront of the language that's been used. But we know now that 21st century marketing talks about the need for, in all businesses, not just hospitality, for the experience to be both experiential and relational. And so that word customer experience has certainly become a big, big part of what is critical to have a thriving and sustainable business, both in hospitality, and in any other business. So we'll be really focusing on that word experience today. The word customer, I'm sure you know very well. So the focus will really be on how to create experiences, and ones that are memorable, and ones that are so powerful that people want to come back to you time and time again. As I mentioned before, there's a lot of you that are both in our community, but there's also a lot of people today who are new to our community. So just by way of a quick introduction, we are the Hospitality Company, and there's a photo of part of the homepage of our website. Those that don't know what I look like, that's me in the grey on the standing up there with my hand in my pocket, and on the opposite side, sitting in the sort of Down the end of the truck there is my wife, Alexis, who's part of the team, co-founder of the company, and right in the middle there with the long brown hair and the dots on her top is Liz, and she's one of our team members and a fellow coach and consultant with us. So we make up the hospitality company. We're a small team, but we really love what we do, and you can see there our focus is on providing this education and support that really helps owners and managers understand this fast-moving world of hospitality business and make sure that they're building businesses that are successful and sustainable. So that's a bit about sort of the faces. And in terms of what we do, we focus our time and energy on study and watch best practice. We travel a lot around the world to see best practice. This year we're going to be in America again for the third time in about 2.5 years. We're heading over there in August, and we're also going to Europe, to France and Italy later in the year. And we go to these different countries to see what is happening in the industry globally. We are in some ways in the world advanced in business, but in other ways we're a bit behind, and we tend to travel overseas to see what's coming, because what we see that happens in America and Europe often, really follows its way here. So, and it's particular in America just by the nature of the country. So we go and study that. We look at what we call hospitality best practice in all areas, including finance and marketing, and training and customer experience, wherever that may be. We go and look at that, and then we bring it back to NZ and teach it to the industry across the country. We do that through a range of things, through online courses, through training, lots of workshops and speaking gigs. We do a lot of online coaching with our clients and consulting as well. So that's a bit about what we do. And on the right-hand side, that's showing you a copy of our business framework. We call it Hospitality Business Architecture, which is about the design, engineer, and build of successful and sustainable hospitality business. And we've been able to really bring hospitality in terms of a framework into 12 critical areas, and we teach those critical areas to our clients. So that's just a bit of background on who we are and why we do what we do. So let's get into the topic at hand. And we really want to start by linking this need to create a world-class customer experience with this very, very important point right from the beginning, that the customer experience itself is your number one marketing strategy. And so we really want to highlight that for you, because when we have clients and people join our community, it's really interesting to see how many people ask us the question of, can you help us with marketing ideas? And one of the things that we do here, and that we, particularly in recent times we're doing, is we're saying to people that we're not going to teach you anything about marketing externally until you have nailed the number one marketing strategy of all, which is the customer experience. And what does that mean? What does that really, how does that break down? Well, how it breaks down is that if you are spending all of your time and energy and money, or an amount of it, getting people through the door through different marketing strategies, and the customer experience itself isn't a memorable one, then what's going to happen in this highly connected world is that those people are going to leave your business and tell people that it wasn't very good. And that's going to make all that marketing time and energy a real waste of money. And in fact, it's going to do worse than that. It's going to send people out to be detractors of your business and tell a whole bunch of people never to come to your business. And then any marketing that you do has got to get over that even before it starts actually working. So we're not saying external marketing. We talk here at the Hospitality Company about internal and external marketing. But the best form of marketing overall is in itself the customer experience. And there are statistics after statistics, which I won't put up here and bore you with, but I can tell you that that's what we spend our time looking at and researching. And we know that this is absolutely true. So before, as you go away after today's session and you start revisiting some of your thoughts or some of your actions, would really encourage you to make sure that before you get too focused or start spending money on what we might call external marketing, marketing that happens outside of the walls of your business, really zero in on this customer experience and to understand that it is the number one marketing strategy of your business. So therefore, what we're saying is that as you support your team, as you as leaders or owners of the business are growing and developing and streamlining this customer experience to be world-class, you are in fact doing marketing. You know, I wonder if you've ever asked your team members, do you think that you're in the marketing department of our company? Do you think you're on the marketing team? I think you might be surprised, or maybe not surprised, depending on how intuitive you are about your business and your people and yourself. Most of them would not think that they are part of the marketing department of your business. Most of them will think they're part of the kitchen team or part of the front of house team or part of the bar team. But what they really all are significant players and significant employees in the context of being in your marketing department. And by the way, when you teach that and when you bring and induct employees in, that they understand from day one that they're a critical piece of, critical cog and critical person and partner in the marketing department, they really like that and they find it really exciting. So I'd encourage you to start thinking that way and talking to your team about that. So what we're really doing, as much as we're looking at the importance of world-class and the world-class customer experience, what we're doing here in its wider context is that we are making sure that your marketing is outstanding. And it's the customer experience that in itself will always be, is now, and will always be your number one marketing strategy. So I hope that makes sense. And that's sort of a bit of I suppose, puts a wider context to the content we're going to look at today. So a couple of things that we want to talk about here to get you thinking. Number one, are you writing your last chapter? So the question we put here, and we've got a few questions to ask you today, and hopefully you're making a note of these and thinking about them as I talk through them, is are you clear on what you want your customers to say when they leave your business? And we've put that clear in those block capitals because we're talking about being crystal clear. Do you really know, not just you if you're an owner or manager, but does you and all of the people in your business know what that last chapter is to say? And are you writing it, or are you just waiting for that to happen and it be whatever it was be? Is it a lottery, or is it something that you're purposely doing on purpose so that you are getting the customers leaving feeling a certain and seeing your business in a certain way? Now, how would you know if you have? Well, perhaps by being really honest and remembering no one's listening to you today, so you can be as honest with yourself quietly or out loud as you wish. You're on mute, so no one can hear you. Is that last chapter in writing? Is it communicated to the entire team in the business? Does everyone in the business understand what last chapter you're trying to write, exactly what it is that you're doing and what you want customers to say when they leave? And thirdly, the point is it measured? Are you measuring that? So just a reminder, are you clear on what you want customers to say when they leave your business? And the point is it in writing what you want them to say? Is it being communicated to your entire team so everyone knows what they're trying to do and aiming for? And is it being measured? And then obviously, are you giving that feedback back to the entire team and yourself to see how you can improve that? Right, so there's a sort of the backstory, the framing of the 4 keys that we're going to talk about today. So let's have a look at those 4 keys. So first key is what we call the environment. And the environment is the part of the business that helps and supports and creates that atmosphere within your business. So how well have you done that in the original design and planning of the business and what you've created in the touch points within the building, within the restaurant, bar or cafe that you have built or that you manage? Is that environment one that really creates an atmosphere that really works? And as you think about that and whether you have or haven't, here's some points to think about in terms of the environment that you already have, because all of you've got different environments. It's not about creating an environment that's the same. It's about creating an environment that works for your business. So the questions are, is this: is there alignment? Does your environment align with your mission of exactly what you're trying to do as a business? Does your environment align with your vision of what you see your business being like and feeling like? Does your environment align with your strategy of exactly what you're trying to do in the business on a daily basis? And fourthly, does it align with your culture, and particularly your product within that culture? So the example would be that, if your food is Mexican, does the environment feel like a Mexican restaurant, and does it have that atmosphere of that Mexican restaurant? And I've been to a number of places across the country that have done this, and I picked Mexican incredibly well. And I'm sure you have probably been to places too that have done that. But I've also been to places where the environment hasn't aligned very well, where a business has said, we're going to do Mexican food, but the environment and the feeling within that doesn't feel like that. Obviously we're not naming names today, but I've been into it was the one that I thought of because Mexican is quite a big food style at the moment, and I went into a Mexican restaurant. Well, actually, I won't even name where, but you might be able to figure it out. But I went to a Mexican restaurant that the music when I went there had nothing to do, and in fact was miles away from anything to do with Mexican or Mexico itself, or it didn't contribute to the environment. It was music that just seemed so off what they were trying to create and the atmosphere they were trying to create. It was actually totally and utterly distracting. So that's just a practical example that does the environment align and does it match with the product? And I'm sure you've thought about that in terms of particularly the product, but I wonder whether you've thought about the alignment of that environment to those other areas of mission, vision, and strategy. So what we'd encourage you to do is to go back and do a bit of a review. Have a look at the atmosphere, look at what you documented when you set up your business and when you had that vision for it. What did you say the atmosphere was going to be like? What did you say that the guests and customers coming in were going to say about that atmosphere? And is that the atmosphere and created? Has the environment matched the vision and mission that you have? Because if that's not aligned, then you may need to revisit that strategy to make that atmosphere and that environment really match the product. So that's point one, as the environment. The other point to make here is it measured? You're going to see this come up a couple of times here. Is it measured? Do you know and have you asked people whether the environment is what you want it to be? So how would you describe the environment you were trying to create when you first started the business, when you did a refit, whatever it might have been? And have you gone and asked the public, the customers and guests coming to your business, does it feel like this? And you would like to think that they're going to give you some feedback on that. They want you to do well, they want to give you feedback, and you want to know that what you are trying to create is what you're delivering. Not by way of a guess and not by way of, oh, but I'm here all the time, so I think I know. It's asking. So measuring is really important. So that's point number one. Second point is about the culinary experience. We talk about create the taste. This might look a little familiar. Is there alignment? Does your food and beverage align with, again, your mission of what you're wanting to become, what you're trying to do, your long-term vision, your strategy, and your culture, and particularly in respect to what we call the customer promise, your promise. So when you're out there marketing, whether it be through your website, whether it be through your social media, however you're marketing the food and beverage of your business? What is the type of promise that's underlined or you are underlying in your marketing? Are you saying it's the best vegan food in Wellington? Are you saying it's, incredible coffee? What are the things through your marketing that you're promising? And is your food and beverage the second key of the four? Are you delivering on that promise? When I have these discussions with clients through our online coaching and the work that we do, one of the things that we talk about that I think is really powerful that clients have connected to over the years is a saying that I use, which you've heard of, I'm sure, which is that best in class. And the best in class element is doing the best of its type, whatever that may be. Now, as you hear that, some of you may also hear that and go, well, best in class, well, that hasn't always been important. McDonald's isn't the best hamburger in the world, so why is best in class so important now? Well, we've got to remember that McDonald's was created, a long time ago. It was created in an environment where the best in class actually wasn't as important as it is today. Now today, the consumer is looking for whatever they have, not all, but a lot are looking for what they have to be an incredible version. This is the food and beverage they have, an incredible version of whatever it is that they're consuming. So is it a dumpling? Is it a taco? Is it sushi? Whatever it may be, Caesar salad, chocolate mud cake, whatever it is that you make in your business, more now than ever is the best in class, or it being an excellent version of what it is that you do, is really, really important. I was talking with a client last week, actually, and we were talking about their newer client, and we're talking about their breakfast menu. And I asked the client, I see on your website that you do Eggs Benedict. How would you describe your Eggs Benedict? And the new client said, I think it's pretty good. It's not bad. I'm like, well, here's in lie, one of the challenges that we need to face, because we need that answer to be, it is excellent. We only do 6 breakfast dishes, but every single one of them is best in class. It is really, really fantastic. And people tell us all the time how incredible it is. So we'd really encourage you, as you look at shaping your promise to the market, as you look at the actual offerings that you give the market around food and beverage. It's not about more. It's about whatever it is excellent in itself, is world-class. And so part of creating a world-class customer experience is to deliver a world-class food and beverage choice that is really at that level. Now, remembering we're talking about world-class in the context of the item. I'm not saying here that world-class, that only fine dining restaurants are considered world-class. No, it's not about casual versus a la carte versus counter order. It's got nothing to do with any of the processes or systems. It's just got to do with whatever it is that you do, whatever item you choose to have, is it really fantastic? And we know through our working with clients is that when they make those subtle changes to make everything they do that little bit better, still within the constraints of their cost of goods and the other aspects of their business, but make what they do really, really fantastic, then that goes a long, long way to supporting this customer experience that we're wanting to deliver. So that's point number 2. And then you're going to see it again. Is it measured? So are you measuring the food and beverage experience? Are you getting live and regular and constant feedback on whether that best-in-class product is being delivered and being well received by your customer base? So really important. I want to come back to the measured bit near the end, but just being really mindful. of that. All right, third of three or four, so we're halfway, is the service you deliver. Create the delivery. And we want to focus on a couple of bits here. Create the delivery. So really, really important to see service as the importance of delivering an experience by way of the systems to service excellence. So the question is there alignment? Do your systems deliver service excellence? Now, for 20 years, we've been working with hospitality business owners, and we've seen quite a mix of hospitality businesses in terms of systemization. We've seen some that are very turnkey, almost franchise-like in their approach and the dotting I's and the crossing of the T's. And then we've seen the other extreme of absolutely zero systems, everyone making up every day, and a daily world of chaos. We wouldn't be recommending that. What we would be recommending is making sure that the systems that you build are done in a way that deliver that service excellence. So for some of you, systemization at this stage might be, sheets of paper stuck up on the wall in the kitchen front of house by the rosters. Some of you maybe have extended to a folder, and some of the really advanced one may have got to an online system, which we would be recommending that you have. And if you've got any questions about the detail of some of this, please feel free to email me afterwards, and I can answer any of those questions for you online. But creating systems that deliver service excellence is really, really important. When we've gone around the country and looked at restaurants and cafes, and we've been observing, or a client has asked us to observe their business, they're a new client, wants to show what we do, and no one knows who we are. What we see all the time is the system letting down service excellence, or more clearly, a lack of systemization letting down service excellence. And these can be systems by way of not having clear procedures for different elements of the business. But they can also be as basic as, one of the things we've seen a lot of recently that we've been talking about is the way in which the area around a POS system in cafes and restaurants has become awfully cluttered. And over the last few years, it seems to have got worse and worse. Once upon a time, there's a tip jar, then there's this, now there's this, there's selling cookies, business cards, da-da-da. And the clutter that has created around the way in which people pay, I'm watching when they can't even get their handbags up on the side of the the pay area or the cabinet, because there's just so much stuff there. And if that isn't worked through diligently, and if it isn't really analysed well, the result of those types of things is, in that case, someone's really slow because they can't get their wallet out because the woman can't put their purse on the counter. It holds people up behind. All these things have a real impact on the service experience and will really hinder the ability to deliver that service excellence. So it's really, really important that on a constant and regular basis that you are reviewing your systems and making sure that the ones that you've got in place support and help you deliver service excellence. And then the point, as you've seen now, you can see the theme, is it measured? Now, do you find out through feedback whether the service systems and the service that you deliver is world-class? Not guess it, not assume it, but actually measure it and ask. So that's point number 3. And our final point, and our final of the 4 keys, is hospitality, creating the feeling. So those of you that know us well and have been in our community will know a lot about our research, our international research that we have done into hospitality, and our work with Union Square Hospitality Group, who are a very close association with ours now in New York, and headed by Danny Meyer, who's got the famous saying that service is what you do and hospitality is about how you make people feel. And I get the feeling, and my gut feeling tells me that The three of the four, as you've gone through and seen the list, you've gone, oh, yeah, okay, well, I think we do that pretty well. We do, the atmosphere's right. We like our food. People seem to really like it. Our service systems are pretty good. So for those of you that have got that in hand, then this will be the real kicker. This will be the one that'll really make the difference and see more and more people want to come to your business, which is hospitality. How we're making people feel when they're in the environment, when they're eating the food and beverage of your business, and when they're being served the food and beverage that they've ordered. Those are the three, but this thing that surrounds those three is the hospitality, how we're making people feel. You know, often for a long time, people have looked at, that we've worked with, have looked at customer service and food, or food and service, often people would say, food and service in the right environment, and it's a winning recipe. Well, we think that recipe has changed a lot. And we think it's the environment, the food and beverage, and the service surrounded by hospitality is now the model that we've seen to be the most successful, both domestically and internationally. So it's really important that this hospitality bit is really understood. And so the question will be there, is your culture of hospitality aligned with your mission, your vision, your strategy, and that brand promise? Before we talked about the promise in relation to food and beverage, now we're talking about the promise that your brand puts out there. What is it that you're saying in your marketing when you're talking to the world and telling the world about who you are through all the mediums that are available? What is your brand promising people when they come in? How clear is that? And are you delivering on that promise? And we know that putting more hospitality, more feelings into your business and having people have an emotional connection with your business, that you are going to deliver that promise so much better. So a couple of critical points here around hospitality. Make customers feel, and in big writing, important and valued as people, not just as a commercial transaction. So how good is the team in your business at creating feelings and experiences that make people feel important and valued? Danny Meyer, who I was talking about before, the CEO of the Union Square Hospitality Group, says that everyone's walking around with a tattoo on their forehead that says, "Make me feel important." When you go back to looking at that original point around writing the last chapter, have you got that down in writing? Or do you need to look at adding that into your last chapter, that we want to deliver on all four of these areas, the environment, the food and beverage, the service and the hospitality, that people feel while they're in here and when they leave, really, really important to our business. And important is more than they've just had a nice time. We want them to come away where it was so powerful, the experience that they had, that they didn't do it. But if they could have, they would have given you and your team a standing ovation. Is it that good? Or is it more transactional? Is it good, polite, effective, and efficient service, but a lack of feeling where people go away shrugging their shoulders saying, that was okay? And obviously you know, and you will well know, that if they're walking out the door saying, it was all right, it was okay, that is not okay, because there is just far too much competition to just be okay anymore. You know, okay in hospitality now is, well, it's a death wish. It's a sign that you're going to go out of business. It's not a sign that you're building a sustainable business. So it's really, really important to make people leaving the door feel, and the chapter you're writing is that they felt really important in our business and really, really valued. And know and remember that if they do and when they do, that you are doing the greatest marketing you could do. And you can get rid of half your marketing strategies overnight if you are making people feel important and valued when they leave. You're saving money, not spending more money. The other thing that we highlight there, because this is such a critical element of the 4 steps, and it's the one that is really that'll move the dial the most for you, is to make customers feel more like guests when they're in your business. So rather than making a customer feel like a customer, make them feel like a guest. Make them feel that they've come somewhere and they're really looked after in a really special and personal way, just like we would look after the guests that come into our home. So that could be, as you think about writing, writing the last chapter and talking to that with your team, if you go back and do some of that work with your team, asking your team, what could we do to make people feel more like guests than customers? How do we blur that line between them arriving as a customer but leaving as a guest? What are 1, 2, 3 things that we could do particularly well? Not 50 things. You don't have to do that. It's not about the bells and whistles. It's about doing 2 or 3 things incredibly well where they would feel like a guest. So what could we do to personalize the experience for them? And that's really, really important. Okay, a couple of other points. You're doing very well. Hang in there with me. We haven't got too long to go. You want to be the favorite. You really want to be the favorite in the eyes of the people that come to your business. The favorite coffee house, the favorite place for breakfast, the favorite place for a beer. Whatever type of business you are, being the favorite is one of the most powerful pieces of the marketing model. You don't actually have to be the best, but being the favorite is incredibly important. And hospitality, which is how you make people feel, is the standout answer for that. You see, the thing that we know is that food and beverage, even looks and feels of businesses in terms of, creation of restaurants and cafes and bars, they can be copied. A restaurant look and fit out can be copied. A menu can be copied. A chef can go into a restaurant and say, oh, I like that dish. I'm going to do a version of that. They take a photo of it before they eat it. They go home, they figure out how to make it, and they could put on their dish tomorrow. But what the difference is that how people feel and the experience they have is very, very difficult to copy. So how you make people feel is difficult to copy. And if you get really fantastic at that, it is and will be the standout answer of all 4 of these. And is it being measured? So you've seen a theme here, haven't you? You've seen all 4 now introduced: the environment, the culinary experience, the service and hospitality. And after all 4, the question has been posed, is it measured? So Peter Drucker, who really is the inventor of modern management, talks about, or paraphrased through his writings, you can't manage what you don't measure. Peter Drucker is seen by many in the world as someone to really, from a management perspective, really learn about and understand. And I would encourage any of you who enjoy reading business books to get some Drucker books, and you'll find them really fascinating. So measuring is really important. And the one that we recommend is the measure of customer loyalty. And the best measure for customer loyalty is NPS. So we've got use an NPS to find out if you're creating a world-class customer experience. I had a client the other day who had a training company come out and do some training with their business, which was fantastic. And that's great to hear the client getting some front of house skills training on wine opening and plate carrying, and that's fantastic. Really good to hear that. However, I asked the question at the client at the end of that, well, you've made this investment in your team, how are you going to measure that? And the client didn't have a plan for the measuring of that. So when we invest in training, whether we invest in making our food and our hospitality and our service and all of the elements of our business better, and we put that investment in, We want to make sure that we're doing measuring to see whether there's a return on that investment, because that's what we want to do. We want to invest time, we want to invest energy, creativeness, money, and then measure it in a way that we can turn around and say, well, that was really well worth our while. And we believe that the NPS, Net Promoter Score, and if you don't know about that and you'd like to receive a workbook on that, a free workbook, happy to send it out to you, then please just email me and say, hey, James, could you send me that NPS workbook you were talking about? I'm more than happy to send that to you. We do a lot of this NPS work with our clients in our community. So really would recommend to you learning about that, because what it measures is customer loyalty, and loyalty comes from a fantastic customer experience. If you've got people going out there and you score high using this system, then you know that you're delivering on those 4 key measures. Don't rely on Facebook, don't rely on TripAdvisor, because if you don't know, what happens with those is that on TripAdvisor or Facebook's, not that they're not good, but they tend to be the best or the worst. They don't give you the full picture. It's a blurred picture, and it's one that I wouldn't be holding in terms of measuring. I wouldn't be holding up as a strong enough weekly measure of how people feel about your business. It's a snapshot, but it's just not a wide enough measure. And NPS and learning about that and putting that, it will help you do that. So we've covered off our 4 points, and we're just on time. Before we go today, just want to make sure that for those of you that don't know who we are, that you know a bit about what we do. So you can see here what we do. We help build better systems, build better leaders. We show clients how to attract the best talent, build a successful culture. We're cost control experts. We help more profitability, and we grow and educate managers. That's just in a bit of a summary of what we do. And for those of you that have heard today and would like to know more about what we do, then I'd highly recommend you jump on our website. We've got HPA Online Coaching, which is a monthly membership for owners, and we have HPA Online Coaching for managers, which is $55 a month per manager. These are really great services that deliver a huge amount of resources. And if you are looking to upskill and educate yourself as owners or managers in the business of hospitality, example of that is that for both of those programs, we deliver fortnightly webinars like this, just for the communities, just for owners and just for managers, plus a whole bunch of other services, resources and tools that we have created, having gone and studied the best in the world. So if that's something that you're interested in, please feel free to jump on the website or contact me for details, and I'm happy to help you. So thank you very much. To find out more about us, please feel free to go to the website and have a good look around, and really happy to answer any questions online if you feel like sending me an email. But I want to thank you very much for being here today. We hope that you've enjoyed learning and listening and thinking about those 4 keys. We hope that you will leave today going back and looking at writing the last chapter, really asking yourself whether you are really, really clear about what customer experience you want people saying when they leave your business. And go back and do a review. Go and look at those 4 areas of your business: the environment, the culinary excellence of your business, the service and hospitality, and look at ways of improving and enhancing those. Because if you do that, you will be investing in the best marketing strategy you'll have, and your business will grow and be sustainable if you do. Thank you very much for being involved today. We really appreciate that, and we will make sure that we get a copy of this for you to listen to, and it will be out to you over the next couple of days. So thank you very much, and have a wonderful rest of the day. Bye-bye.